Hello and welcome back to another horror movie review. This is for my favorite slash movie of all time, keeping in with the theme of Halloween. Now my favorite slash movie of all time, I'm going to get this out of the way right now. It's not Friday the 13th, it's not Nightmare on Elm Street, it's not Halloween, it's not Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's not Black Christmas. My favorite slash movie of all time actually is a little movie called The Burning. This is my favorite slash movie ever. It's actually also one of my favorite movies ever. The Burning, for whatever reason, it holds up for me for a multitude of reasons, actually. Now, this isn't just a nostalgia thing. I've seen most of those movies before I even saw this one. I've seen most of the Friday the 13th before I saw this. I've seen a lot of the Halloween movies, and I've seen at least the first Nightmare on Elm Street before I saw that. I don't remember if I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre before I saw... No, I saw this the same week as I saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I just forget which one I saw first. I think I actually saw this one before I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is still a classic, but I would watch this one before I would watch that. This one I find is more entertaining. Now, the plot of this movie, it's nothing game-changing or anything like that. It's a 1980 slasher movie. I think it was either released in 80 or 81. I knew it was in production before Friday the 13th. It's about this guy who, he's a caretaker at a summer camp. He gets burned due to a prank gone wrong, and then once he recovers from his burns, he goes on a killing spree at the camp again some years later after his recovery. Nothing too game-changing, but what is likable about this movie is the characters. They're nothing too deep or special, but they still are three-dimensional. They're likable, they're relatable. They remind me of the characters from Cabin in the Woods, how they were also likable and relatable. Of course, some of them are the standard, slasher teen characters where you just want to see them die. And even then, I didn't really want to see them die because they're still likable. Sure, Glazer, he's more of the bully in the movie, but even still, when he gets killed off, spoilers, it kind of hurts because these characters, for the most part, are likable. They act like teens from that time. They're not just the Friday the 13th characters. They're not the, oh, just kill them already characters. They're the, maybe they should survive. I feel bad for these characters. That's how I felt while I was watching this movie. And I know some of these people are in stuff later, and this movie is actually filled with a lot of people that I would see later in life. I mean, I've seen these people in movies before, in movies and TV shows before I saw this. That's actually what grabbed my attention of it. Like Jason Alexander, he's in this movie. That was actually very interesting to see because it's Jason Alexander, and of course he has a full head of hair in this movie, which is actually the reason why I wanted to see it. So I saw it and I was like, okay, he's actually a really cool character in this movie. Seeing a young Jason Alexander, seeing a young everyone in this movie was really, really cool to see. And I know that may have some connection as to why I would want to see them live at the end, but I have a feeling it's more than that. I have a feeling it's just because I genuinely liked these characters. I wanted to see them pull through. The camp counselors were also really cool. They weren't the dumb, stereotypical camp counselors of other slasher films. They were genuine people. That's one thing this movie has above most slasher films. The characters in this movie feel like real people. They feel like people I would talk to. They would feel like people I would go to school with. I mean, yeah, I do really like the people I went to school with, but these would feel like people I would know at school or buddy up with or hang out with on the weekend. They are just cool people, and that's why I really liked the characters in this movie. Now, I forget. I have to look, see if they have the name. Okay, Cropsy. Cropsy's the killer's name. Sorry, another name was running through my head. I just wanted to be sure. Cropsy is the killer's name. The effect, he looks more melted than burned, which is kind of weird. I've never been burned. I've seen pictures of different types of burned victims. This one looks a bit different. Tom Savini did the effects. His face just looks more melted as opposed to Freddy Krueger's look. And I'm not sure which one's the more accurate to the types of burns that he got. So you have to bear with me on this, but I think he definitely looks disgusting and disturbing, and that was really cool. I liked that effect. The effects in this movie are phenomenal. I loved the gore effects in this. Has some of the best gore effects in a slasher film I've seen. They still hold up today. Some of them, yeah, sure, are a little like when someone gets their fingers cut off. It looks kind of fake, but still, you can tell it's like a fake hand being held up and stuff like that. Fake hands being held up in the front of the person as opposed to it's their hands. I still won't know how to do that today. We have some weird CG effect to help sync that better. But for its time, this was phenomenal. This was gorier than Friday the 13th. And that's another reason why I want to see it. I heard it was a bloodier version of Jason Alexander and it was a bloodier slasher film. And yes, this is a very gory film. I mean, it's not something along the lines of Dead Alive or something like that, but still, it has some great gore effects done by the master of this craft, Tom Savini. And I gotta give the movie props for that. I am so happy this movie's effects are phenomenal. These are better gore effects than most of the movies that are released nowadays. And that's saying a lot. It just goes to show how sometimes the classic just outweighs original. And this is one of those movies I hope they don't remake because I know that it's just gonna be ruined instantly. Thankfully, this movie has developed a decent bit of a cult following over the years. I saw this when I was in high school. And I was just like, I love this movie. This is like the equivalent of the gold standard for slasher film as I'll give. It's my favorite slasher movie of all time. It's the most entertaining. No slasher movies scare me, but it comes to creepiness. And I loved that scene at the end where they're telling the campfire story when he says, "Don't move, you're dead." I don't know why that sends chills down my spine every time I hear it. It's creepy. I know it's kind of campy, but it still creeps me out. Is it just the light fourth wall break they did at the end? I'm not sure, but it sends chills down my spine every time I hear it, and it doesn't miss a beat. As soon as he says that line, it's just chills, and it gives me goosebumps. And then the creepy music kicks in. They did well with that. I loved this movie's music. This movie is a quintessential 80s slasher film. This is where it's at. Whoever's watching this, if you haven't seen this yet, definitely check it out. I'm pretty sure you can get this on the cheap on Amazon or at whatever video store that's in your area. Definitely check it out. It is worth seeing. And if you get it used, it's going to be even cheaper. I got this for $10, either 10 or $15 at FYE when I was in high school. And I loved every second of it. It's on Blu-ray now. I didn't get the Blu-ray yet because the Blu-ray is a little too pricey for me. That's my problem when the companies re-release 80s horror films on Blu-ray. For some reason, they jack the price up way more than I believe that I'm willing to spend for. Some movies, yeah, I will be willing to spend like 20-some bucks for. Like I bought Edge of Tomorrow recently, for an example, and I spent at least like 20 bucks on that. I didn't mind spending the 20 bucks on that because it's a big budget movie and it's with all the effects. But for something like this, DVD's fine. You can go well with DVD. You don't need this on Blu-ray. But I've heard the visual quality of it is highly improved from this. So maybe one day I will buy the Blu-ray. It just all depends on my income and the price decrease. You know, being a college student and trying to work 2 jobs is kind of difficult, and trying to manage a decent movie collection. So I have to figure out what's worth rebuying on Blu-ray. This will be one day, I know, but I just have to wait for my pay to increase eventually. But anyways, on its own, this movie is phenomenal. I highly recommend it to everybody. It is the quintessential Halloween season movie. It just works on almost every level. I cannot think of a bad thing to say about this movie, other than it's a little campy at times, and of course the acting isn't perfect, but I still give it a 5. It is my favorite slasher movie. There's nothing, I can't give this movie any negatives. It's well paced, it's well acted for the most part, aside from a few things here and there. It's not overtly campy, but it is campy enough where I can enjoy it still. It's creepy, but it's not demented, and it's just a good movie. It's entertaining, and I feel it's one of the most underrated slasher films ever. I really do hope after posting this review, more people will see it, and I hope more people spread the word about The Burning, because The Burning deserves, I can't think of a clever pun for it, but The Burning deserves more credit. and hopefully everyone will check it out one day. Anyways, that's my review of The Burning. I hope to catch you guys later. Peace.